Wake up, dead man. It's another episode of the Religious Treehouse. I'm
No,
Jodie.
I need you to start over.
No.
We're fine. We look pretty. I'm Matthew.
And today we're reviewing a movie. Matthew, before we get into this, I'll ask, how's your week been?
Oh, I really want to start reading murder mystery novels again. It's been a while since I've done a fun little mystery novel read, but I think I could get back into it. I think I can get back into it real fast.
I wonder if you could find a religious one and then we could talk about it on the podcast.
I mean, there's always. I think Agatha Christie has. It was mentioned in this movie, The Murder of a Vicar or something like that. I don't remember the names of it. There's so many books out there. They've written about everything,
Yeah.
and they made movies about everything. But somehow they make good movies, unlike last week's movie. But this one, this time they made a good movie, and I'm so excited to talk about this. But how's your week been? How are you doing?
It's going pretty well. Depending on when you're hearing this, Christmas has happened.
I think New Year's has happened. Happy New
New
Year!
Year's.
I think this is our first episode of the New Year. This is
Happy New
2026.
Year. We're starting with a not stinker movie. We ended last year with the stinker. We're starting with a not stinker.
Woo!
Woo! We are going to be talking about Knives Out, Wake Up, Dead Man. I almost called it Dead Man Walking again.
Is it? Yeah.
It's
Is it
Wake Up, Dead
technically
Man.
is it technically a Knives Out, or is it just like under the category of Knives
It's
Out?
it's Knives Out, colon, Wake Up, Dead Man.
Is it Wake Up Dead Man colon Knives Out?
I think it's Knives Out first because it was Knives Out, Glass Onion.
Well, okay, but I'm looking at the poster right now. It's Wake Up Dead Man, and then like under it says a Knives Out mystery.
Well,
I don't think it's anything. I think it's just Wake Up Dead Man, and then it's
Wake Up,
also
Dead
like,
Man.
hey, remember Knives Out? That was a good movie. You'll like this
Yeah.
one too.
Okay. Well, Wake Up, Dead Man.
Wake Up Dead Man.
Wake Up, Dead Man. There's Benoit Blanc. What more
Benoit
do I
Blanc.
need?
Yeah. Right. I don't know how far we can get into this conversation without, major spoilers. So, because this is, a new movie and not a movie that's been out for like 20 to 50 years, like I like to generally do, we should do the general, hey, if you haven't seen this yet and you want to know what happens before we talk about it, go watch the movie. Unlike some other movies that we've reviewed here, this one's actually worth watching. So I'm excited to talk about this. It's going to be fun. And if you haven't seen it yet, spoiler alert right now, right here. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Yeah, we've given people a couple weeks. Like, get into it. And let's just start. So we start off the movie and we meet Father Judd and he punches someone in the face and breaks their jaw. And he's trouble because that's not good. Isn't it good? What did you think of that opener?
Oh, I thought I a strong opener because it opens like he punches the bad priest guy who's being a jerk or whatever. And then they go into the scene where he's being like disciplined or something, and the higher up people talking to him are saying like, hey, we Christians need to fight the world is being bad and we have to fight the world. And Judd says no, we have to care for the world. There's the opposition between fighting the world and caring for the world that I think this movie kind of takes to heart. That's the argument that's going to be happening here throughout the movie. It's positing these two forms of Christianity that are so prevalent in the world right now,
Mm.
and like one that we all pick a side on. And whether we're Christian or not, whether we're part of this religious tradition or not, there you see you have an opinion on this. This is not something that you don't have an opinion on. I think I can say that for the podcast, you and I, we both want a Christianity. We want a religion that says, hey, we're here to care for the world, not fight the world. And that's what's very appealing about this movie. It's because it looks at, to an extent, it looks at both perspectives, but it definitely is pushing for the, hey, Christians are here to care for the world. And I think it does a really, really good job at setting up this dichotomy, saying, like, hey, these are the two forms of Christianity that are in tussles with each other right now. And we're going to look at them both and see how they manifest themselves. So when we look at these characters and how they're presenting their form of Christianity and how they're so diametrically opposed to each other, I think it's fascinating how they do this in the movie. And like it makes me really like interested. Like I'm already interested in religion and stuff like that, but it made me really interested in Catholicism because it presented this way like, hey, it didn't like, hold back on anything. It said there's some really, really scary ways of being Christian. There's some really, really scary ways of being Catholic. But here's this Father Judd who's just as much Catholic, just as much Christian as all these other guys. And he's also presenting this new way of doing Christianity that isn't as scary, isn't as, reactionary as others do it. So it did a really good job at showing there's multiple ways to do this. And I think like one of my favorite things that I respect the Catholic Church for is their way to have so much diversity but still be, a singular unity or singular, group to some extent.
Yeah.
So I thought it set up that dichotomy really well from the beginning.
Yeah, the quote stuck out to me. A priest is a shepherd, the world is a wolf. And Josh O'Connor replies with, you start fighting wolves, and everyone you don't understand is a wolf.
Right. No,
And
definitely.
I love that. It resonated so loudly and it spoke to everything you said, but just in a couple sentences.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. That also stood out because then as particularly as we see Grace's story, which we'll talk about more, I'm sure, as this conversation goes on, we see her the point of view that's always been presented to the church. And then we look at it from a different perspective and we say, oh no, something completely different was going on. So yeah, I think that opening scene is really easy to just kind of glance over, like, oh yeah, we're just starting the movie. But I think that sets the stage for, the entirety of the movie. Fantastic way to be like, hey, this is what you need to be looking out for to understand the commentary that's being put forth.
Yeah. And so we get this great opening foundation. He gives the higher up man gives him a sentencing of some sort. He's like, hey, you're going to go work here with this guy, Father Wicks. He's a few beads short of a rosary. That had me laughing.
Sure. We love a specifically Catholic insult.
Yes. I was like, fantastic, beautiful. Kind of get we get a feel for who Wicks is before we go to Our Lady of Perpetual Fortitude. What do you
Hmm.
think of the name?
I mean, it feels like and I think this is intentional, like a castle you're trying to lock up, and you're at war with everything outside that castle. And I think that was very intentional, uh, because it wanted to like they very much present themselves as it's us versus them, and them is just the world outside the church. It's a fortress. It's fortitude. It's fortified.
Yeah. And we hear that word fortified and fortified multiple times throughout
Yeah.
the rest of the movie until a certain point. But we get Judd's inner monologue of him arriving to the church, and he says, Daniel in the lion's den, David against Goliath, young, dumb, and full of Christ, to describe himself.
Right.
I, I'm just like loving the imagery, the comparisons, the way he perceives himself, and we don't know it yet, but he's reflecting.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, yeah, I can see that as the inner monologue of a young priest who's kind of being scathing about himself.
Sure, but that I think that was also kind of a joke. I forget what movie. That's a direct reference from a movie.
Is it?
Um, I forget what movie it is. It might have been Keanu Reeves or Robert Downey Jr. I get them confused, which is bad of me. Or it could just be someone completely else. But it's a much more, inappropriate comment that we shouldn't put on our podcast. I'll tell you later.
Okay.
uh,
Anyways, so
but
he
yeah.
goes into the church and Martha appears. It's like she's haunting the
Oh,
church. She's just there
yeah.
all the time. And she takes him to meet Father Judd. No, Father Wicks.
Mhm.
Monsignor Wicks. Sorry.
Right. Yeah.
So many titles. And we get our first taste of Wicks.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I mean, he's the paradigmatic right wing, aggressive priest,
Yeah.
pastor, whatever. Like he's there to embody the most right wing conservative view of Christianity that's reactionary and angry and scared of everyone who's not one of them.
Yeah.
And like he does that well, and he yells at everyone, and he makes sure that the church doesn't grow because the only people that are there are people that have been there long enough that like, okay, they're stuck there. And anytime I love the scenes where they have a whole bunch of people, like three different scenes back to back of people coming into the church, and then Wicks is just like, how can I make this sermon directly at them and just cuss them out in holy anger in some sort. But I think the first scene we have with him is just a shadow, because in the church they have the cross that they took down, that Grace, who is Wicks's mother, tore down in, as we're told up to this point, in a fit of anger and rage at the church. And they go, no, she's wicked and evil and all that. They took that cross down as a perpetual reminder of that.
Yeah.
But we see his shadow up against that cross as he's putting himself in as Jesus. And I think what we have there is Wicks's ego and self-idealization as Jesus, and he sees himself as the utmost importance. He's the reason why those people at the church, they're worshiping him,
Yeah.
not the larger religion.
Definitely. To go back, I hate to do this to you. I wrote down every little thing that happened that stood out to me, because we get the uncomfortable confession, and then we hear the Judd's commentary on Wicks's punches. Then we meet Samson, who the first time we see him, he is polishing his scythe, the
Is
very
he?
thing that kills him,
Uh-huh.
and he's polishing it affectionately. That broke my heart.
Yeah.
Because it's like he obviously cares about his job and about the tools he uses. And then it's turned against him. I'm sick. Then we find out Martha knows where the bodies are buried. Penises on the
Sure.
thing. And then we get to the empty cross as the shameful sin of the harlot whore. That scene of the harlot whore, it upset me. I was like,
Sure.
already like, this woman's misunderstood.
Mm.
Martha never lied. And then we get the first time we say, without Eve's apple, your inheritance is within Christ. And that's the first time
Yeah.
we hear it.
Yeah, and that's repeated throughout the movie with various levels of meaning.
Yes. So Martha depicts Grace as evil and deranged. This is a dark story about the man being so holy and the woman being bad. And there's just so much that happens in that sequence that I was like, each bit's important, whether it's important to the mystery or to the overarching theme of this whole, like, this look at religion, of the best of it, of the worst of it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just going chronologically through everything.
No, for sure. And at this point, we're kind of introduced to all the characters, right?
Mm-hmm. Well,
Um,
no, at this point, because we haven't met, have we met Vera yet? We meet Vera after the
right.
church, right? She's the first one.
I think so.
Yeah, we meet Vera and then we meet Sai. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So first we
So,
meet Vera, who's a lawyer.
right. And then they all have various degrees of importance and not. Watch the movie, you'll figure out who these people are. But I think the names of these people, if we can do a quick aside, like I love how they were named.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Particularly we have Judd, who is, very much opposed to or Wicks and all that he's doing, and is kind of framed as the one that would kill him, the most likely suspect, and that, very much, having him placed up against the view of Judas, the betrayer from the Bible, and having that name Judd and Judas, I think, is very, very intentional.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have Martha, who, is portrayed as, being the helper, the busybody, who's often used by as an example of a lot of patriarchal churches to be like, hey, this is what, like, look at what women are doing. They're being all busybodies and stuff. How dare they not
Yeah.
ever taking theological claims seriously? That's a tangent for some other time.
No.
Um,
Tangents are down.
but she's also the brother of, or the sister of Lazarus, which, with her tight connection with Wicks and how he, supposedly wakes up 3 days after he dies. Spoilers, I warned you. I think that also was a very intentional connection there to be like, hey, this Martha lady, and also Martha and like the woman see Jesus after his resurrection first, and she's the first one at the crypt after it opens. Um,
No,
well, I mean, no, I mean
no, it's
after
Samson, because it was Samson who was going to deliver the message back.
well, no, Samson exits the crypt and Nat is there, and also Judd is there. But after that whole event
Oh yeah.
happens,
Well, yeah.
Martha is the first one there.
Well, yeah. Okay.
And then we have Samson, who was in the crypt the whole time. Again, watch the movie to understand what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And I think, as he pushes open the Lazarus door, it destroys the door, destroys the building, very much positing him up against the Samson character in the Bible, who dies after destroying a building from the inside.
Yeah.
And then we have Nat Sharp. We love Nat Sharp, Jeremy Renner. What a great guy! And his last name is Sharp because, of course, he is, because he stabbed the guy, which I thought was just so funny.
No, I like all the intentional names. I got to be honest, the Judd Judas one was the only one that stood out to me, and Samson. And I was like, long
Yeah.
hair, he's pretty. That's it. Nat Sharp, right over my head.
Yeah, I also have to think that Nat might be a nod towards the Apostle Nathan,
Um,
um, and also what was the girl in the wheelchair's name? That was something that,
Simone.
yeah, that of Simon. That
Oh
could be a nod towards Simon,
my God.
but I don't know. There could be there. I'm sure there's so many things that we missed in this, but who knows?
I can't. There's so many notes. I don't even know what to pick from. This was just so good. Okay, so where are we
Yeah.
at in the movie?
We've introduced ourselves to all the characters. I think we can get to the murder.
Yeah, it's pretty plain. They spiked his drink.
Yeah, pretty plain. A
Pretty
guy
plain.
died in a locked room. It's a locked room murder. And they're like, oh my goodness, what happens? This is scary. Oh my goodness, who killed the guy? Who cares? I don't really care about the whole murder part of this movie. Who cares about that? If you want to like talk about the murder aspect of this, go find some other podcast. We're here to talk about religion. But yeah, he gets murdered in a locked room. So what? Who cares? We find out later, because we don't care about spoilers. We find out that um, he drinks poison that like makes him go to sleep, and then Nat Sharp gets some blood to go pew to make everyone think, oh no, he's already been stabbed. And then after everyone's not looking there, he goes in and actually stabs him. Yada yada yada. You can watch the movie to get a better idea of this.
With the red devil knife, which we're like, okay, we understand what that's supposed to symbolize. It's evil. Someone evil
Evil.
did this evil
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Satan killed our guy. Oh
Yes.
no.
A war against Christ.
Yeah.
Because, we're working here with some men who think they're the body of Christ, which I really
Yeah.
want to talk about that communion. It upsets me that
Yeah.
Prentice did
Talk
when he
about it. We can jump around.
when he called Eve's gem the body of Christ,
Uh-huh.
and then he said your inheritance is within Christ.
Hmm.
And so is he Christ? Is the diamond Christ? I thought money wasn't Christ. And then he's calling himself Christ. The men in that family have a very skewed view of themselves, and
Yeah.
they need to think about it.
Did Prentice being Wick's grandfather, did he say that?
Yes. When he was
Okay.
taking it, he said, when he was holding up Eve's apple, he said, this is the body of Christ. But when he told Martha, he said, well, no, he had told I forget who told, but Eve's apple, your inheritance is within the body of Christ,
Right.
is what was said. Oh, without Eve's apple, your inheritance is within Christ, is what was supposed to be told to his daughter.
Okay.
The inheritance was literally inside him.
Sure. And that could be, self-grandizing view of himself,
Yeah.
or it could just be because we didn't really like get a good view of him as like a person, did we?
Well, I think the view of him we were supposed to get was through Wix. Like
Because
he
Wicks
is,
did look up to him.
yes,
Wicks,
Wix
yeah,
looked,
okay, that
and
makes sense. So he
so
would
much so
be
that he took the position.
right. So he would be the type of person I'd be like, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Wix
Um,
perpetuated the kind of Christianity his grandfather saw
yeah.
and bred.
So it would make sense that he would be like, hey, yeah, I'm actually Christ.
Yeah.
Uh, cool. We're following. But then I love at the very end, if we're gonna jump ahead to where Judd tells Sai, who thinks that it technically is his rightful inheritance.
Mm.
He says your inheritance is in Christ, and it's because uh, Judd crafted the Jesus, the crucifix, and he placed the gem inside the rib cage in the heart. So yeah, like it is, your inheritance is in Christ. You just have to come to church, and you'll see it.
Yep. So that came to fruition. And then multiple times before that, we also hear that the Eve's apple would be restored to the tree. And so it was within wood. So like
Yeah,
everything
I
came
didn't
to
notice that.
fruition at
Yeah,
the end.
yeah,
It was
genius.
very nice. I liked it.
It's yeah, it's so well made, like so very intentional. Like this was fantastically written. The audio, the visuals of it all, the lighting was so good from like all perspectives, from like the themes that it was trying to put forth and the arguments it was making to the actual creation of it. All around, great movie.
Yeah.
The murder of it, the mystery of it, I don't know, wasn't my favorite of like the Knives Out, but everything else, all the things that like actually mattered, so good.
Yeah. I enjoyed the murder. I mean, I guessed it was Martha as soon as she stumbled into the cross on the stage. I was
Mm.
like, oh, Martha's involved. Now what? But I mean, how things played out, I was a little surprised. Well, because at one point I was like, what if she planned it with Wicks? And then all of a sudden he's drowning Nat in a tub of acid and he himself has now died. And I was like, well, there goes that guess.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, it's a fun movie, but all these things like learned Pinot, priest in name only. I don't know if that's a real thing. Was Wick standing on a pulpit? Was that a
Yeah.
pulpit? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it was a very uniquely shaped one. It looked like the bow of a ship. And I think that was like very much to like increase his, you know, his scariness and like to put him like way up there in like a very intimidating stance, kind of a heightened view of a pulpit. But yeah,
Wow. That's great. Great for him.
I mean,
Um,
again, great set design because it got the point across for sure.
oh yeah, no, it was a cute church. I was like, I want to go to that church.
Yeah.
What a fun church.
Right. I
And then
mean,
there was multiple buildings.
obviously from the outside, different church from the inside.
Yeah.
But and also from the outside, didn't look like an American church. Like my gut, like we could probably look it up, but my gut says that the outside views were like European for something. Uh
Well, Judd even calls attention to that when he's giving his whole diatribe comparing the church. Like what is the quote? So Benoit Blanc has arrived. He's given his scathing review of what he views the church to be, which I think is an accurate description for the
mm,
congregation of Our Lady of Fortitude.
yeah.
And Judd's basically like, you know what, you're right. It's storytelling. It's storytelling. What the heck? It's
Yeah.
storytelling. It has more in common with Disneyland than Notre Dame.
Yeah, and I mean this is Nietzsche's whole complaint about religion. He calls it just a bedtime story, which like fair enough. But another thing that I really enjoy how this movie did is it kind of showed Benoit Blanc's
Benoit? Can we
Benoit.
talk today?
It showed Blanc's kind of path of like understanding the beauty of the church. Like even though like it wasn't for him, and like he's like, no, I'm not a believer or anything like that. Like we're here for logic and facts and scooby doo doo. But he started with this scathing idea of the church. He started with the idea that, oh no, this is all fairy tales. Who cares? And then we get Judd's reaction saying, yeah, it is. Like it might be made up, but we have to find the truth that exists within it, and that's the beauty of it. That's the greatness of it.
Yeah.
And we kind of see how that plays out. We have Judd having his road to Damascus moment where Paul comes and be like, oh yeah, Jesus, that's actually a cool guy, uh for the biblical reference. I think that's a direct quote. Paul says, Jesus, pretty cool guy. And we have Judd's Damascus moment, and then at the very end we have Blanc's Damascus moment, where he could lay it down. He knows exactly what happens. He could ruin all these people's reputations for the spectacle of it and the pride of it. And I thought, my goodness, this is so fun. But instead, he says, "Hold up, I'm not going to do this. We'll do it in private with Martha and give her the opportunity, give her the grace to be able to come to terms with us on her own terms."
Yeah.
And I think that did a really good job of showing that, like you could, that showing that like you can gain from religion, like not necessarily just Catholicism or Christianity, but just like whatever religion, whatever moral outlines that you have, like you can step into it and find good things in it and use it for yourself and see the beauty of it, whether you're part of that tradition or not. I thought that was really neat.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, it was very cool. I enjoyed that entire the change in the use of light to
Mm,
convey these things. So the characters didn't have to say it out loud, but they also did kind of say it out loud.
yeah.
And it was very heartfelt. I felt more deeply moved by this movie than the other Knives Out movies,
Well,
which
yeah. And I think I differ from the majority. The first Knives Out, in my opinion, was fine. And I loved the second Knives Out movie. And everyone else was like, oh no, Glass Onion was fine, whatever. I loved it. We burned the Mona Lisa and we said, screw all the billionaires. That was so much fun, so wild. It was great. Um, and the first one also great. It was about, immigration and stuff like that, which
mm,
again, very relevant and very good. But this one, love this one, so good.
takes the cake, man. Come on, you got fighting priests and
Yeah.
well, yeah, let's talk about the one priest specifically. I want to talk about what roles he played in
Mm.
each of the characters' lives because he kind of played a different role for everyone. Like, obviously, he was everyone's oppressor. Much more so, I feel he oppressed Vera than everyone else. I
Uh-huh.
want to talk about Vera because I think what was done to her was the worst of it all.
Okay.
And that upsets me because
Cool.
I felt like she was over. Because Judd's standing, when Judd confronts Wick, he lists off all of the men. He doesn't list off Simone either
Mm.
or Vera, but like, well, no, he does list off Simone. He doesn't list off Vera. Judd even overlooks the things Vera has been through. Vera was convinced by her father and Wick to raise who she thought to be her half brother.
Right.
That's crazy. That's insane. It's not
Mm.
out of the realm of possibility.
Right.
But, Judd didn't consider that when he was giving Wick a rundown, scathing review of all the ways he has failed his congregation. And it
Yeah.
only is when Vera stands up for herself and is like, he's actually your son. Why the heck did this happen to me? And I know you guys aren't going to care and you're going to convince yourself and you're going to just all decide to ignore it and
Yeah.
convince yourselves he's a man of God. It was a
Right. Well,
very
because
frustrating
like
but necessary storyline.
and like the whole anger of the church kind of goes back to Wick's mother, the harlot whore, who like had him out of wedlock, and that was like their whole piece of anger. And now he's doing the same thing, but because he's a man and because he has this power and authority over them, they're like, okay, no, it's fine. So I think that it did a great job of showing the opposite view of that, but it still being the exact same thing happening.
Yeah. The way the women in this movie were taken advantage of, the way Grace was disrespected, the way
Yeah.
Simone was taken for all of her money, the way Vera was used for like the fact that she could raise this child, and
Mm.
Martha, poor, faithful Martha, who then became a perpetrator of the exact crimes committed against her. Unnerving and upsetting.
Yeah.
And just but yes, the rules Wicks anyways. He was inspiration for Lee. He was the church to Martha. I view him to Simone. He was kind of like a televangelist.
Yeah.
Like, buy now, get a miracle
Yeah.
free.
Yeah, definitely prosperity for
Yeah,
her, prosperity gospel.
prosperity gospel. For Samson, he was a second chance. That was
And
the
I think that shows the good part. Like even this awful form of Christianity that's oppressive and all that, I think by showing Samson there, it didn't just make it a caricature. I think by having Samson being actually genuinely helped by this form of Christianity. Getting him off of alcohol and not being an alcoholic. As awful as this form of Christianity is in so many ways, it can still do some good in some ways. And I thought it was interesting how they portrayed it. I mean, sure, Samson ends up dying, but hey, up until then, it was doing him good.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was. He had Martha, and
Yeah.
they had each other, and they made each other happy. I can't think of any role Wicks filled for Nat.
Uh-huh.
I can't think is so, and I think that lack of a connection is kind of like leads to why Nat's
Well,
cool with killing
I
him.
I think they portrayed Nat almost like a shell. Like he just had no sense of self-importance, no sense of self-worth. He just kind of went along with the flow. Like Jeremy Renner's acting, there's like one scene where he's just talking to someone and he's just kind of huddled in on himself, like not having any real like when you look at Wicks and how he presents himself, he's always standing up straight, always shoulders out, big personality. And anytime that Nat is portrayed, he's very inward, shoulders in, very small, and it kind of shows the difference between the big strong man and the weak effeminate man. What I saw was Nat's got his identity of masculinity through Wicks, and I think that's what he filled.
Got it.
But
Yeah.
I mean, I could be wrong, but who knows?
And to Sai, he was dollar signs.
Yeah.
Literally. It's crazy. I'm back to Samson for a second and his drinking, and that being the reason Judd, I know you don't care about the murder, but Judd concealing the drinking was a big
Uh-huh.
thorn in the investigation side.
Right.
And to me, that was kind of a little nod to like when um churches like don't report things
Yeah.
or help conceal things.
Right. It just as like we've seen the good side through what Samson does,
Mm,
like we also can kind of see the bad side of like this idea of covering things up that his that Judd's view of Christianity says like, oh no, we need perpetual grace,
yeah,
which I think like on its surface is a really really good thing, but not when it covers up the abuse
yeah,
of other things, which both forms of these Christianities are very guilty of.
yeah. And they do make up for all the disrespect women get at the end of the movie when they truly are discussing poor Grace and like Benoit talking about it. It almost brought me to tears. It's like he's just like, oh Grace. And I was like, oh
Yeah.
my heart. It breaks. But finally, after Martha confesses and Martha is seeking forgiveness for everything, she finally seeks forgiveness and sees Grace for what she was, which is a woman trap.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you're right. I couldn't get over how much this movie, like, because it was in your face, but also very nuanced at the same time.
Yeah. It's a movie that I know I didn't pick up everything that like it was thrown at me because I just don't think anyone has the ability to pick up everything that was thrown at us. Like I generally don't like rewatching movies, but I'm definitely going to need to rewatch this one just to be like aware of what is happening
Yeah.
because it's just there's so many moving parts and so many different commentaries happening, and like if you blink you're going to miss some biblical reference, you're going to miss some random in note on something else. But
Yeah.
oh my
Well, I
goodness,
mean,
my favorite scene, well, my favorite scene was when Benoit Blanc went Scooby Dooby Doo, but my second favorite scene was uh after the crypt is opened up and they all leave, we get Nat back at his apartment and he opens the door and he says, "It is accomplished." And I was like, "Oh no, this is devastating," because that was Jesus's last words in John, and I knew those were going to be Nat's final words, and then they were because he died dead.
wow.
And it's like
Dead.
things like that that they just like throw in there that like if you don't have, I mean, that's like a fairly common, like if you're a Christian and you've been to church for a good while, especially if you've been to Catholic church for a good while, you're going to be fairly aware that that was generally agreed upon by um, in Christianity to be Jesus's final words. You're like, oh no,
Yeah.
how dare you say that? He's gonna die.
Nat had that damn butterfly motif everywhere. Like there were
He did.
butterflies all
Yeah.
over Nat's. I want to look more into that,
Mm,
figure out what that was. Because I know butterflies are metamorphosis change, but what part is it hinting to? There were like symbolic things that happened that
yeah.
I feel like I kept missing, like finding the rosary outside of Simone's interview room
Uh-huh.
when Judd did that.
Yeah.
But
That, I mean, and that could be, I took that as her like losing her faith,
oh,
like after her savior of like the person that could save her has died. Now she can't be saved anymore, so she's losing her faith.
how simple. I went too far into it. I started marking down every time that path of trees came up
Yeah.
because I was like, is it just visually stunning or is there something there?
Yeah.
Oh,
And it
there
was
was
visually
something with
stunning.
Skimble Shanks the Railway Cat. It's
Oh,
lyrics taken from a T.S. Eliot poem in Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats. And it's
okay.
about a cat who keeps a train in order so it can keep it going. It is about timeliness and punctuality.
I have no idea what you're talking about right now.
When they get in the car together, Benoit and Judd, and the song starts playing, it's Skimbleshanks the Railway Cat. No.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
And okay. Anyways, it's from Cats the Musical,
Oh, I haven't seen
which
that, so that explains why I don't know what we're talking about.
I it was in the movie. Anyways, I loved the little ways they nodded to like Benoit's like commitment to like the way they showed how he relished solving things and getting to unmask things. And it
Yeah.
really makes the end so much more impactful when he's just like, I can't, I
Yeah.
cannot tell you who the killer is.
Hmm. And they also had Phantom of the Opera. They had a lot of Andrew
Yeah.
Lloyd Webber. Okay.
Yeah.
It's connecting now. Okay, sorry. But yeah.
The Phantom of the Opera had my mom and I like audibly cackling. I was like, what a great way to interrupt someone on an
Yeah.
organ. Yes, there was just so much. I don't think we could cover everything in
Yeah. No,
this.
that's everything that I have generally to say. I think it was overall a great movie, uh, great commentary on Catholicism. I mean, we do great on social media whenever we talk about Catholicism. Maybe we should just become Catholic, Jody. Maybe that's the key.
I'm right there. I thought about it multiple times the two times I
Yeah.
watched the movie. I was like,
I
yeah,
mean,
I can see that.
I think I would need my priest to have tattoos and
Yeah.
swear,
Yeah.
but I think we could make it work.
Yeah. I think so. I think so. So, Matthew, is this a religious movie or a movie that depicts religion?
Well, it was religious for me, so I don't know about you, but
I would agree that it's religious. We didn't even mention the Louise sequence.
oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So that was how did we not mention that? Because the way that he's just talking to Louise, and she just shifts to be like, "Hey, can I talk to you about something real serious?" And he's like, "In the time crunch, they gotta do things," and then he just goes, "Yeah." And then by the time he's done with the conversation, the lighting outside has changed, and he's just become fully invested in that. And I think that is a beautiful view of how religion, how Christianity should work, where it's like, oh no, we actually genuinely care and are going
Yeah.
to do the best we can to help you in this circumstance, whether that be just on the phone listening for however long they listen and then praying, or actually having some form of actual help wherever that may be. And I thought that presented like Christianity at its absolute best.
It was a beautiful scene. It was so nice to watch the lead up to it where he's pacing around the office and he looks down at the desk and it's the smashed up Jesus.
Yeah.
and just that moment, and then walking outside, and then Benoit finally putting it together hours later when he looks at the Jesus, and kind of, I think it clicks
Yeah.
for him, like what that change and shift in him has been. Which then leads to Judd's entire breakdown in the church, which I loved.
Yeah.
Just such a good movie. Everyone who worked on this movie, good job.
Yeah.
You did so good. You
Yep, we're
did your
proud of you. We're
best.
proud of you all. Thank you.
We're so proud. I can't wait for the next Knives Out.
Yeah, and because there has to be one. And make it about religion again. It worked this time. Why
Yeah,
not do it again?
just keep making religious Knives Out,
Yeah.
and we'll just keep watching them. But thank you for listening. Find us on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Bluesky, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music. Email us at thereligioustreehouse at
YouTube and
gmail.com.
YouTube.
And go to YouTube, like and subscribe. And if you want to hear us talk about more movies, we got episodes, man.
Yeah. Or
And
if you want to hear us talk about more religion, we have episodes on that too.
we got a little bit. We've been going for a little over a year now. So, woo!
Woo!
Going into our second year. Thank you guys for joining us, and we hope to see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
This was a feminist movie from beginning to end.
Yeah. I'll support that. I think it
Although
took a
the
little.
next movie should be about feminism.
Yeah, we haven't really had a feminist movie yet. What was the Young Dumb? I think the quote. Well, I can't remember what movie it is, but it's Young, Dumb, and Full of Cum.
Oh. Oh.
Which,
We're done
yeah.
with the internet for today.